The 2020-21 season countdown is brought to you by Odds Checker, your one-stop betting hub.
Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Footy Show daily, and it's only 3 days to go till the Premier League season starts. We are on the countdown to the Premier League season. Today we're gonna have a little look at who will be the player of the season this year, because Kevin De Bruyne got PFA Player of the Season yesterday. He was awarded it a bit late. Obviously, the Football Writers Award was given to Jordan Henderson, but the other players give it to Kevin De Bruyne because they understand football. So we're going to have a little chat about that as well as some other news. Big thanks to Odds Checker for sponsoring the 2020-21 season countdown on Toffee TV. There are 3 days to go. Of course, to the start of the season, and if you like a punt, make sure you get the Odds Checker app. It is the only checker. It's the only app to get. It's a bit like Deliveroo for betting apps, and you can go on there, you can compare all the odds, and you can also click through and use the odds as well. So make sure you check that out, and you know, you've got to be 18. Don't forget that, and you've got to bet responsibly. The link is in the description for that as well. Yeah. Kevin De Bruyne got PF. Is that right?
Yeah.
Last season?
100% right. Best player in the Premier League. Most talented. He's incredible. Goals, passes are unbelievable. Really drives Manchester City forward. I understand, obviously, Jordan Henderson was the captain. Liverpool ended the 30-year wait, and he was instrumental in doing that for Liverpool. But it's supposed to be on pure talent, isn't it? Allegedly, or he was the best player. And I just think you look at De Bruyne's numbers; they're just incredible. And for me, he's the best player in the Premier League, and he's the man to beat. I don't think there's any question about that.
Well, he's favourite. He's 5-1 favourite for next season as well.
Already.
So obviously, and he's at his peak, isn't he?
Yeah.
At the peak of his powers. And he makes that team tick. And like you said, you've got a player that makes a side tick. That's why I thought it was weird that Jordan Henderson got it, because he doesn't make Liverpool tick. Don't get me wrong, I understand he's a driving force, and there's a lot of sentiment towards it as well. But he's not what makes Liverpool tick. I don't think personally. You've got the full-backs, and you've got the three up front.
Yeah.
Liverpool fans will say, you know, he is that driving force that every team needs. I understand that. But Kevin De Bruyne is actually the difference maker with Manchester City. Yeah. And he's what, 29 now, isn't he, as well? So
got all that,
still looks like he's about 13. In fact, he looks like me when I was 13. But
it's the peak, isn't he? He's at the peak of his powers now. And you look at him, and he's at the centre of everything Manchester City do well. They've got great players, of course, but he is like that extra notch, I think, when you look at him. He'll be gutted that they obviously went out the Champions League the way they did and things like that. They fell into that thing almost, that if he doesn't perform, they're a level below and stuff. So I think he'll be hoping that, or they'll be hoping he's as good as he was this season, next season, and everybody else gets up to his level. And if they can, City will have an excellent season. But just when you're looking at players around the league, for me, he is the best player in the Premier League.
The mad thing is, in terms of odds, Jordan Henderson is 50-1 to get the PFA award.
Yeah.
For next year. Isn't that mad, though?
Yeah. The current winner is
well, the current football writers.
Yeah, sorry, the football writers. But the players, I mean, the players are the ones. I think that's the one that players... It's nice to get it, obviously, off journalists, and it's someone appreciating and everything else. But when you get the award from fellow pros, that'll be the one really that they treasure more so, because it's people who play the games, their opponents.
So who else do you think you're looking at? Because it's a difficult one this season because of everything that's going on and the lack maybe of new players coming into the. I mean, obviously Chelsea have had a glut of players, but who else are you looking at?
I think you'd have to look at Liverpool, wouldn't you? You'd look at probably Virgil van Dijk and say that he'd probably be up there if he has a similar season to what he's just had for Liverpool. And maybe someone like Sadio Mane, who I think is real. He's Liverpool's like real X-Man. Almost, he's the one who, if he doesn't come up with a goal, he generally creates a goal or he causes havoc for them. I know Mo Salah's brilliant for them, but for me, Mane, I think, is Liverpool's best player. Manchester City, Raheem Sterling is always scores a lot of goals and is involved in a lot of goals. So I think maybe him, he'd have to step up a level. Someone who should be in the running for it, if they perform to their level every single week, would be Paul Pogba. But because the talent, but I look at him and I just go,
See, for me, right, a player, and I'm not saying he will, but a player I would put into the mix is Bruno Fernandes. Because he had such a good second half of the season that if he could do that over a season,
then,
you know, then you are looking at someone. And listen, a lot of the times it does come from someone who wins the league or comes very close, like Manchester City. But Fernandes had such a good second half of the season that I would look at him. Listen, Pogba's one of those players that Pogba, for a long time, looked like he didn't want to play for Man United, but it looks like everything sort of suits him now. He's playing in his proper position. In fact, I think Bruno Fernandes took the pressure off Pogba.
Yeah.
He's allowed Pogba to not be...
No, but you know what I mean? Talent-wise,
No, I know.
He should be someone who's
But maybe we'll
knocking on the
see
door.
that in tandem this season. Maybe we'll see Pogba grow because of Bruno Fernandes' influence and vice versa. And I just think that if you... See, what sometimes can happen as well is that one player is so outstanding in his team that they don't have to win something because they just look brilliant. So I think Bruno Fernandes could be an outside for that.
He could. I mean, the pressure will be on him this season because he took the Premier League by surprise, I think, when he came in. I know we all knew he was an excellent player in Portugal at Sporting, and he was obviously, you know, United were chasing him from the summer, weren't he? And eventually got him in January, and he'd been linked with Liverpool in the past and other top clubs. And he come in and he really just transformed Manchester United. But like you say, people probably weren't prepared for how good he was. Whereas now, he's not catching anybody by surprise this season. Everyone's going to know. Now, whether you can stop him is another thing. That'll be ultimately what quality he provides. But he is a fantastic player. It'll be interesting to see whether he can do it.
When you mentioned Liverpool there, Sadio Mane's 20-1. Virgil van Dijk's also 20-1.
So you've just said before that De Bruyne is the favourite. Well, who else is in the mix then, according to the bookies?
Kevin De Bruyne, Raheem Sterling 12-1, Harry Kane 18-1, and then you've got Sadio Mane. You've got Virgil van Dijk, and here's an interesting one, 33-1. Aubameyang. Talking about a player that steps up. That is if Arsenal do have a good season, and he's the catalyst for it, then again, that's that spotlight of going, who drove that team forward?
Let me just say this about Aubameyang, because I seen something on yesterday, Tuesday, that I'd kind of in my mind was like, yeah, he's staying at Arsenal, sign that new deal and all that. And then I seen something yesterday from one of the London writers saying,
why is it
people aren't convinced that he's going to sign the contract. Because it's all gone very quiet. He's only got 9 months left on his deal. It's all gone very quiet.
Yeah.
Barcelona are sniffing around him and Memphis Depay, apparently. So if he stays at Arsenal, he could be certainly up in the running, because we've seen over the last few weeks of lockdown when he basically won the FA Cup for Arsenal on his own. Such was the impact of him. He's a fantastic player. He come up good and big in the Charity Shield against Liverpool as well a couple of weeks ago. If he stays, yeah, he could absolutely be a key player for Arsenal. It's just that in my mind, I'd forgot. I thought, he signed a deal, he's all settled. And then it was just yesterday when I read that, I was like, interesting that it isn't all done and dusted when the Premier League kicks off at the weekend. But I mean, listen, it might get announced Friday that he's re-signed. But if you're him, and you've got maybe Barcelona knocking on your door, or who knows, maybe a Manchester City or a United or someone saying, you've only got 9 months left, how about this? You don't know.
Let's get away from that. Some of the talking points from today, Aston Villa have broke their transfer record to sign Ollie Watkins from Brentford, 28 million with the possibility of rising to 33 million. That is a lot of money. I know he scored a lot of goals in the Championship, but that's a big outlay, isn't it?
It's a huge outlay for Aston Villa. Gambling, big time. They took a gamble with Wesley last year. It didn't work. They took another gamble. They need goals. We know they were riding for Callum Wilson, and he chose to go to Newcastle instead, and they've acted very quickly. Ollie Watkins looked really good in the Championship, don't get me wrong. Bright player. Mind me a little bit of Josh King, but a more prolific player. Although Josh King's done well in the Premier League. He's not Premier League proven, so it's a gamble. What I would say is a further example of how good Benham is at Brentford in turning and flipping players over. Absolutely incredible. 28 million for now going straight in Brentford's coffers, and they can strengthen again for the.
Bought him for a couple of million, didn't they? I think
they've done it with Hogan. They've done it with a number of players now. But it's what they do, and he'll go out, reinvest that money due to the data. He'll probably get 3 or 4 players.
Absolutely brilliant. Gini Wijnaldum is apparently going to hold talks with Jurgen Klopp because his contract runs out. Is it next summer?
Next summer,
Next summer.
Less than a year to go.
Less than a year. Liverpool have so far not brought any players in. Obviously, Thiago's still massively on their radar. I'd be massively surprised if that didn't happen. But does that show maybe, and I'm not talking Liverpool down at all here, they're the champions, fantastic side, it's very hard to improve that. But does that show where they are in terms of trying to improve? Because to improve that team, you're going to have to put massive outlay on a player to come in. So do you think, even though he's 29, do you think it's a case of it might be worth just giving this lad what he wants because he's an integral part, scores some really important goals and is a key member, seems to be a key member in the squad?
He's been brilliant for Liverpool. I remember just before they got him, he was linked with Everton when he'd been at Newcastle, and I wasn't overly impressed at all with. I know he scored, I think he ended up with 10 goals or something at Newcastle, but when I'd watched him, he was just one of those players that flitted in and out. He's gone to Liverpool, and fair play to Klopp. He's improved them massively, and he's become an integral part of their team, like you say. It's difficult for Liverpool because obviously huge losses due to COVID. They're a team they're a club that tries to do business in a different way. They've tried to become self-sustainable. They've done that to a certain extent. They've spent money when they've had, of course they have. Klopp spent 400 or 500 million, I think 400 million, but they've recouped a lot as well. So when you're the champions the way they are, you're right, it's difficult to improve that team, and as fans we always want new signings. Liverpool fans are frustrated, I think, at the minute that more haven't come in, but to get into that team you're gonna have to go some to be good enough to go into that side. So you can understand it's been difficult for them, and Klopp has done this before. He's looked and gone, if we can't get better, what's the point? There's no point stocking up. So Wijnaldum staying makes sense to me.
But he has been linked with a move to Barca, and obviously with Koeman there as well. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But I do expect Thiago to go in there. It is ramping up though. There's a lot of business starting to happen. Palace moving for Batshuayi, it would seem.
They've just brought Easy in. Ezzy.
So a player they already know, but that'll probably be a good move for him if that happens. Fulham as well, looking to bring in PSG goalkeeper on loan, Aurelio. They're also bringing in Kenny Tete, apparently coming in as well.
I like them at Everton, to be honest.
They bringing a loan deal for Torino fullback Ole Ania.
Ole Ania, yeah.
Yeah, they're formerly of Chelsea, so they're starting to move. Ollie Watkins has gone to Sheffield United. Let's have a look. And Chelsea on the verge of getting Mendy.
Edward Mendy coming in.
The goalkeeper will be number one.
No, well, I mean, I think he probably will, but he's coming in.
Yeah, well, I think he will be.
No, he will, because what I'm saying is he mightn't be the number one at the weekend because I think Kepa will start, but I don't think it'll be long before he unless Kepa steps right up. But I think, he will ultimately become the number one. And then Chelsea, it said they're ready to move for other players as well. They're not done, so
they've all got the benefits, haven't they, of having another few weeks.
Is it 3 weeks?
3 more weeks,
to do
hasn't
stuff.
it? To bring players in.
Yeah.
And then move players on if they need to. So it's going to continue to be very busy, I think, over the next few weeks. The reality of football coming back is here, isn't it? The international weekend's gone.
Thank God.
Terrible, absolutely terrible. But real football returns this week, and we've been counting down to that every day. So make sure you stick with the Footy Show. Big thanks to Odds Checker for sponsoring our countdown to the season. Don't forget, get the app. The link is in the description. Click on the link in the description to get the app. Don't forget, you've got to be 18. Bet responsibly as well. And we'll be back tomorrow to discuss all the latest on the countdown to the Premier League start on Saturday. Thanks for watching. See you later.